So by participating in this week-long experience, they'll get a full immersion into the same science content and the same science experience that my college students get. And hopefully seeing how some of these physics ideas apply, not just in the lab, but beyond the walls of the lab and into their lives and their lived experience. So when I walk around every day, I see physics at work everywhere that I look. It's the study of everything. Literally everything in the universe falls under some heading of an idea within physics. So maybe we start off the week and we talk about motion and kinematics. Well, I move all the time. If I'm running down the hall from my office to my class, or if I'm driving to work, or if I'm watching football on the weekend, or any movement that I do follows the laws of physics. But then we're going to dive right in and we're going to do some experiments where we are moving things and measuring how they move. So measuring their velocities and their accelerations and talking about how those are related to each other. The next day, we're going to be doing projectile motion. And that's how objects move, but when they're moving through the air. So if you're a golfer, you play golf, you hit the ball up in the air, it follows a projectile motion, a parabolic arc. So in the lab, we'll be launching projectiles and measuring how they move and trying to find trajectories and trying to hit targets and seeing how changes in the trajectory affect the distance at which, the range at which those projectiles go. In a car chase, the car drives off of a bank. It's following projectile motion. These are real things that obey the laws of physics that we're going to be exploring. Momentum's in everything. Anytime there's a collision between two objects, if they hit and they stick together, if they hit and they bounce off of each other, that's a study of momentum. And we'll be doing that in the lab and seeing how it affects real situations. And then how do those real situations apply to real life? Rotational motion, optics, how light works. How do we see? How do our eyes work? It's all physics. Just hearing somebody talk about physics is kind of dull, even for me, who I love it. And just having somebody just tell me things, that's it's kind of boring. But when I actually get to see it work and I get to do things and manipulate variables and see how those things affect other aspects of the experiment, that's fun. There's a stigma, I think. There's a stereotypical view of the physicist as the mad scientist and only the genius or the Einsteins, right? They're the ones that study physics. But no, we're all physicists. I live in the universe. This is the universe that I live in. And physics is the study of how the universe works. Just by virtue of me being here, I'm always I'm learning about how the universe works. Physics is just putting that into words and sometimes using some math to make sense of it. So the rules that the universe provides us to live in. And you don't have to be some like huge math nerd or super genius to study it at all. You can understand the concepts of physics just by living life. I think by learning physics, I become better at the other stuff that I do. So I teach martial arts classes, and I'm a better martial artist because I understand the physics behind the moves. I do disc golf, and I'm a better disc golfer because I understand the physics behind how a disc flies through the air. Driving to work, there's physics involved. Walking down the hall, there's physics involved. Whatever it might be that you do, physics is involved somehow. How does a physics degree prepare you for life? And what does it prepare you to do? And the answer is the sky's the limit. If you study physics, you learn problem solving. You learn how to look at a problem and pick out the parts of the problem that are important and apply them to a solution. And that's a skill that makes you better at everything that you try to do. So some of our majors have been hired as physicists, as research scientists in labs. They wear the coat and they do the experiments in university labs all over the country. But other students have studied forensics, and they work with the police and studying crime scenes, because all of that that we see on TV, like CSI, NCIS, all those shows, they're applying physics to solve real world problems. One of our majors, she was a dual major between intelligence studies and physics, and now she works for the NSA. We've had students go on to actuarial science because they're good with numbers and good with problem solving. Engineers commonly study physics because engineering is problem solving as well. How do we make a structure that's not going to collapse, it's not going to fall down? Civil engineers, how do we design this structure so that it is most useful for the purpose that it's supposed to fill? So the sky's the limit. Studying physics can be applied to pretty much any career path.